You want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Build it and they will come. This is a New Jack City, homie. Turn up your sound component wherever you are right now.
We jack up the volume, we'll be able to tell what you had for lunch.
The next hour is going to change everything you think you know about building your business, starting your business, and raising the money for your business.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another Reg.A Money Show. This is Ron Costa in studios in Las Vegas with Miguel Dotris over the iHeartRadio network, amongst others. Miguel, how you doing today?
I am doing outstanding, Ron. As everybody who has turned in our show, the Reg.A Money Show, as they know, we are always bringing the latest and greatest information in the reggae industry, and we have a doozy today, Ron. We got some news that is going to turn people inside out. It's no longer time for you to be standing on the sidelines, my friends. My friends, are you listening to me? I know you guys are out there because Ron and I are getting tons of emails. We're getting tons of calls of everybody that's listening to the Reg.A Money Show. It is time to get off the sidelines. Reg.A Plus is not going anywhere. Anywhere.
Well, actually, it's getting better from all of the news that we're going to talk about in today's show because, like you said, this news is actually real big, and it's a big boon to the Reg.A industry in general. So when we start covering this, Miguel, I think people are going to look at Reg.A from even more amazing perspective, I think. So,
and I agree, Ron. You know, I'm talking to people all the time, you know, and the guy says, you know, well, Miguel, how am I supposed to use $50 million in my business? You know, I want to raise $50 million. And I said, man, you know, well, how much do you want to raise? He goes, well, I was thinking of raising, you know, like $5 or $7 million. And I said, well, if you have $5 or $7 million, that means that your dream is not big enough. Your dream is not big enough. You don't have enough of a dream. You don't have enough of a concept if you only need to raise $5 or $7 million. And you know what, Ron? A lot of people are setting themselves up short because a lot of people think, well, I'm only going to go out on an offering and ask for the bare minimum. And I think that that's a big mistake, Ron. I think that you should go for the most that you could possibly get so that way you can build the business the right way. You can't sell yourself short. And you know what, Ron? This thing that we're going to talk about in the second segment, because I want you guys to stay with us, you know, here on the Reg.A Money Show, where Ron and I are going to bring to you on the segment, you're going to be shocked. And talking about making access to capital available, it's gone from great to like outstanding. It's like, you know, like somebody just handed you apple pie and said, hey, here you go, here's apple pie. And then a guy behind that guy says, would you like some ice cream with that? You know, it's like, oh, this works, right? So that's what we're going to bring. Oh, and we also have to get to, Ron, you know, a very popular segment of the show now these days, Ron. I don't know if you know this or not. It's probably not news to you, Ron, but it's probably news to all our listeners out there that are coming in and downloading us and listening to us on all the different places that you've hooked us up, you know, on Spreaker and Stitcher and iPod and iTunes and SoundCloud and what's the Amazon Alexa?
It goes on and on. I mean, yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's too long. It's too long of a list now. You know. But listen to me. You know that the segment that we like to do where we reach into the inbox on our email and we pull out one of the great emails that we've gotten from our listeners. The checking the inbox segment is become huge. People now are emailing us from all across America, from all across, you know, South America. Got some European Union, you know, kicking in here wanting to know more about how foreign investors are treated and Reg.A. So guys, again, I'm going to, you know, we got a great question today, Ron. I hope you got it in your.
Let's get into the question right now. Then the question was sent. The one that we're going to answer right now, it was sent from Georgia K. out of Omaha, Nebraska. Okay, Miguel, and here's what she asked. I'm going to read this word for word. Okay. On one of your previous shows, you mentioned classes of stock, such as preferred, restricted, Class A, etc. What are the differences of each, and what should an issuer be looking at as opposed to what class stock should a Reg.A early investor insist upon receiving? Thank you for taking my question, and thank you for your show. It's very informative. So there you go. You want to tackle an answer?
Yeah. Let me take a stab at this one, Ron. That's a very good. Georgia, first of all, Georgia, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for crafting the email and sending it to us. Man, it shows that what me and Ron have been doing for the last year here on the soapbox that we've created for ourselves, and we've been yelling from the top of our lungs, Georgia. Thank you so much for listening and submitting a great question. Now, the most important part of this question, Ron, to me is the very end, because you can tell that Georgia has thought about this. Okay? What class of stock should a Reg.A investor insist upon? So what she's actually looking for is what's going to be the best stock to get from my investment in the company. What we're going to talk about, I'm going to break this down real quick so that way we can get to our second segment. But what I'm going to break down right now is, as we did in the previous show, and those are all archived. Ron has done a great job at archiving those shows, so you guys can check those out on the website. And of course, we'll give you all the information on how to find all that stuff. But I do want to tell you that specific show was full of information that she's referring to. So just to recap, just really quickly, you have preferred and you have common. You have different designations of preferred, A, B, C, D. You got a lot of those. Then you have common. And then what a lot of people these days they receive during the PPM stage, during the early stage of seed investment, is common stock, but it comes with a restriction, and that restriction is called 144. And that 144 restriction restricts the owner of that stock being able to sell that stock in the open market for 1 year, okay, after the company has reported it. So the company has to report to the SEC, then and trade, and then the investor has to hold on up to 1 year, and it could go out in 6 months. So Georgia, to answer your question, you are looking for common stock that has been registered as part of the Reg.A offering by the company. And what I'm saying to you, Georgia, is insist on common stock that has been registered as part of the Reg.A offering. Now, it could be common stock or it can be preferred stock with a convertible kicker, which means you buy one restricted security, which converts into two common shares at a later date. But what you want to make sure, Georgia, and here's the thing that you must insist on, it has to be registered as part of the offering. If it's not registered as part of the offering, you are getting restricted securities. You are getting restricted stock, which you must hold for the minimum of 6 months after the company has gone public. So if you're going to insist on anything and you're going to make a transaction with a company who is performing a Reg.A, Georgia, on my mind, I would say don't walk away without getting securities that have been registered on the offering. And how do you know that? How do you know? I know that's what you're going to say to me, Ron, because I can just see it in your face right now.
I was just going to ask you that.
Hang on. Yes. I know. Hang on just a second. You have to, when looking at these Reg.As, and this is a topic that we are going to get into with some great legal counsel, and we got some shows that are coming up. We got some great guests. We got a lot of people coming up for you guys that is just going to shock you. It's going to leave you with your mouth open with the information that we're going to drop on your ears. Okay, now, but just listen. Stop looking at me like that, Ron. Hang on. So how do you know? There's different ways to know that. Look, you can go onto the SEC's website, sec.gov. I always tell everybody to go visit the site. There's a ton of information. There's a ton of information for issuers of the stock, and there's a bunch of information for the investors of the stock. There's a lot of protection. There's a lot of stuff that you guys must look into, okay? You have to be your biggest due diligent advocate you must do that for yourself. You must be aware. You must be informed. So now, you go on. You get an email, or somebody sends you an email. Hey, Georgia, we did business 6 months ago. I know you enjoy our product. We are now in the Reg.A stages, and we want to sell you some stock. Reg.A stages? No Reg.A stages. Are you in Reg.A or are you not in Reg.A? And you know how you check that, Georgia? You go under the Securities and Exchange website. You look for companies. It's the search bar towards the right-hand side, okay? Next to that side that says search for companies, you punch in the company's name, and all their registrations are going to be listed. If they're participating in a Reg.A, they're going to have a qualified A1 1A filing, okay? An A1 filing. Instead of an S1, it's going to be an A1 filing, which is the filing documentation. You're going to look through there, and it's going to say, this company has put 5 million shares at $1 a share, and as long as you're buying from that kitty, from that $5 million kitty, as soon as that company goes public, your shares are free trading security. So you're buying registered security to ensure that you're going to be able to have an exit strategy when the company goes public. That's your first thing. The second thing is you're going to want to make sure that when you get the shares from the transfer agent, or you want to speak to the transfer agent prior to moving any of the shares, you want to check with that transfer agent and make sure you ask them, Georgia, is there any restriction on these securities? Directly to the transfer agent, maybe email the transfer agent. If the transfer agent says yes, there is a restriction, you say thank you very much, and you cancel. Unless you truly believe in the company and you want to hold on, and maybe you want to go long, you want to hold long on that company because you believe that in 3 years they're going to have the cure of cancer. Like that company that we just had here on the show, Ron, the 2020 Gene guy. These guys are probably about 12 to 24 months away from a huge breakout, right? But you can buy their stock today. You're going to buy it for maybe a tenth of the price that you're going to buy it 24 months from now. Yeah, you're going to have to hold on to it for 12 months. But with like any investment, I'm not giving anybody any advice here. I'm not an investment advisor. I'm giving you the full disclosure right now, people. You have to go talk to a broker. You got to go talk to a financial advisor. You must talk to somebody, okay, that is going to lead you in the right direction. Miguel Dotres is not that person to do that. Miguel Dotres is telling you what you should look into, what you should be asking the brokers, the dealers, the stockbrokers, the financial advisor. I'm giving you the gravy questions to be asking these people. I know, Ron. I know it's time for a break. Hang on just a second. Everybody, you are listening to the Reg.A Money Show with me, Miguel Dotres, and Ron Costa over there on the other side of the table. We bring you information in regards to Reg.A and Reg.A Plus, the things that are going on in this industry right now. We have just answered a question of one of our listeners, Georgia K. Georgia K., thank you so much for that question. I hope that I've done that question justice and answered your question and what to insist on when you're looking at that. Georgia, thank you so much for that question and listening to the Reg.A Money Show with me, Miguel Dotres, and Ron Costa. Thank you.
Yeah, two things, Miguel, before we go to the break based on your answer. One was we're going to have a list of those companies that you mentioned on our offerings page on the website at Reg.A Money.com. So if people want to just go right to our site, they'll be able to click and get that information right at their fingertips. And secondly, you did mention the 2020 Gene guys.
Wait, what's that website, Ron? What's that website?
The Reg.A is Reg.A Money.com, REGA Money.com. We also, or you can go to IPO.com, IPOTOGO.com. We also have an offerings page on that. That's more of a news site. But the second thing I want to talk to you about, Miguel, was, or actually to the audience, you mentioned the 2020 Genes guy, Jonathan Cohen, our show last week with this guy. I mean, some tremendous information from him. And if you're out there, you missed that show, definitely go to our archives page because that is one good listen, I think. So anyway.
Where's the archives, Ron?
Right on the archive page on Reg.A Money.com. Just go Reg.A Money.com, click on the Reg.A Money Show, and you'll see the archives right there. And now, we've got so many shows, Miguel, now that we actually now have it divided between our 2016 episodes and our 2017 episodes. So
it's unbelievable. Yeah, so listen to me. So if you're so what Ron just told you guys is if you're a first time listener and you kind of stumbled upon us on like Spreaker or Stitcher or iTunes and you just happen to fall into this Reg.A Money